Hey guys, and welcome to another Tuesday night. This is Pat. If you're watching this, that means that you're probably either a brand new business owner, just getting started in your own business, or you're probably looking to start your own business. So what we do is we do these meetings every couple of weeks, and we get together, we kick around some ideas, and help each other get our businesses off the ground and going. Okay? So want to welcome you. If this is your first time viewing this, hey, thanks for showing up. We're doing something a little bit different tonight. We're branding it a little bit different, and we're going to go back to the basics. So we're going to share a screen here right now. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Okay. Welcome to Business Boot Camp with Pat on our Tuesday night get-together. Let me drop this down here so he's out of my way. All right. Okay. Like the sign says, Business Boot Camp with Pat. Business Boot Camp with Pat, hosted by Pat Calcagno. That's me. I like this picture because it actually makes me look like I'm Hamson instead of looking like a toad, but that's okay. Anyway, my LLC, Jotmon Industries, is my parent corporation. It's what I do most of my marketing under. And copyright 2018 at Jotmon 57. So let's get started. I have a disclaimer. The reason that I have a disclaimer is because what we're going to talk about, well, let me read the disclaimer first. So this training is being offered free of charge. The opinions and or strategies discussed are those of the host and do not constitute any guarantee of income, employment, or offers of marriage. Now, I will accept offers of marriage if you are very, very successful and have a lot of money and don't ask me to sign a prenup. Then I will consider it. But other than that, take it for what it's worth. Your host, Pat Calcagno, me, is just a businessman trying to help other like-minded people, business people, improve their ability to help others. Okay, well, why do I have the disclaimer? Disclaimer being that what I'm doing here is just kind of helping people get in a mindset. I am a mindset guy. I believe that no matter what we do in life, whether we're playing sports, whether we're trying to build a business, or we're at work, we have a specific mindset that makes us more or less successful at whatever we do. So I'm more on the lines of focusing our mindset for the business at hand. Now, we have people out there like my friend and mentor, Matt Heltzel. Matt's great on doing the dreamscaping, making sure that you guys get your dreams up to where they need to be, okay? So I'm not going to step on his toes. He's the expert at it. I'm going to stick with just basically a kind of a basic business mindset. So why do I do this? Well, because this is business education. We're in the business of business education. And business education is like an all-you-can-eat buffet. What do I mean by that? Well, there's more out there than you could ever digest. So take what works for you and implement it. If it's not right for you, try something new until you find what works for you. Just because something works for me or something works for Matt or something works for Maria or something works for somebody else in the business, in any business, doesn't mean it'll necessarily work for you. But don't be afraid to try it. Try it. If it doesn't fit your style, if it doesn't fit your business, then, set it on the shelf. Okay, that was cool. Now let me try something new. All right. That's the whole name of the game. As we're growing, as we're learning our business. And even if you've got a business, trust me, if you look at guys like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Robert Kiyosaki, even Trump, those guys are always looking at new information. They're always trying to improve their education, because the day you get to the point where you think you know everything is the day that you're probably going to get bit right in the butt. Okay, so this is our first of the series. This is called Getting Back to the Basics. So for those of you that are brand new to the business, those of you who are just getting started in your business, some of this stuff may be new to you. If you're thinking about starting your own business, And it doesn't matter whether you're thinking about starting an online business, whether you're starting a brick and mortar business. And by brick and mortar, I mean that you actually have a physical work location that you're going to start, whether it's a franchise or whatever. You might find some of this information, pretty useful. For those of you that have been around the block for a while, for those of you that have businesses or have had businesses in the past, and you're working at those businesses, some of this may be very, very basic, but you know what? Stick with me. You might hear something new. You might hear something that it's going to click and ring some bells and get you back on track, okay? So we're going to get back to the basics tonight. All right. Gentlemen, this is a football. What do I mean by this? Okay, one of my idols, probably one of the great sports coaches of all times, the great coach Vince Lombardi, 1961, spring training, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The year before, the Green Bay Packers, world champions, had gotten their butts handed to them by the Philadelphia Eagles in the National Football League playoffs. Big upset. So everybody comes back to spring training expecting, okay, we're going to have some kind of new stuff going on. We're going to have some new strategies. We're going to learn some really cool stuff that's going to take us to that next level. But Vince Lombardi, being the brilliant coach and the brilliant motivator that he was, knew that it wasn't because they didn't have some fancy schmancy strategy. It's because they had forgotten their basics. So what he did is, first day of spring training, he brings the entire club in, sits them down, stands up in front of them. Now, these are all well-paid professional football players. Holds up a football and says, we're going to go back to the basics. Gentlemen, this is a football. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Coach Vince Lombardi as a little inspiration tonight, and we're going to go back to the basics. All right, getting back to the basics. One of the things we have to think about, if you've taken a creative writing class, either in high school or in college, you know that there's six questions that you have to answer in a story if you really want to grab your audience's attention. Now, I'm not talking about writing, nonfiction biographies. I'm talking about writing a good fiction, a good piece of fiction. There's 6 questions you have to answer for any kind of a good story. Well, I think that if you want to understand how to build a business, if you want to understand your business, you need to be able to answer those 6 questions yourself. All right. The first question is who? Okay. Who is who? Who are we talking about? Okay. We're talking about ourselves. We're talking about ourselves as business owners. You're talking about yourself as a business owner or somebody looking to start a business. So that's the who. So, okay, we've answered that question. Who? Us. What? Okay, you have to kind of figure out what it is that you're talking about. What kind of business are you into? Are you buying a franchise? Are you buying a Krispy Kremes or Dunkin' Donuts or a Mickey D's for $1.5 million? Or are you looking to start your own business in your living room from your computer? Okay, so that's the what. So our business story is going to be who, is going to be us. Our next business part of the business story is the what. Okay, well, what is it that we're doing as a business? Are we selling knitting patterns? Are we selling, spinning lures for fishermen? What are we doing as a business? When? Okay, well, pretty much right now, or for some of you in the near future. So that's your when. Hey, this is what we're doing. We're doing it right now. Where? Okay, there again, we go back to that question of what. Are we doing a brick and mortar? Okay, are we buying a franchise? It's going to have a physical location. Are we going to go rent some office space somewhere and open a business front? Or are we going to communicate with our potential clients through the computer? So that's the where. Okay, now we're going to start getting into the biggies. This is the stuff that I like to get into, the why. Okay, and when I was talking about mindset a little while ago, this is where our mindset starts to come into focus. So we're going to talk about the why. Basically, why did we start a business? Why would somebody else want to get involved in a business of their own? So why? Why are we here? Okay, the big why. I'm a real big proponent of figuring out what your why is. Everybody has a why. Everything that we do, there's a why attached to it. Why do we get out of bed in the morning? Why do we get in our car and drive to the market? Or why do we get and go and get stuck in line to get a cup of coffee at Starbucks in the morning? Why? So there's a why for everything. And there's Mr. Confused Smiley Face. Okay. So understanding why we want to start our own business, really important, okay? I think that probably the biggest reason that people want to start their own business is for freedom. Okay, well, that's kind of a broad term, freedom. Okay, everybody wants to be free. Everybody wants freedom. But what kind of freedom are we looking at? Well, for some people, it's financial freedom. Some people are tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Some people are tired of not answering the phone, not being able to answer the phone because it's a bill collector and you're trying to avoid the bill collectors. Some people are tired of the fact that, you can't even take your kids to Disneyland because it's too expensive. All right? The next freedom is time freedom, okay? Real big for a lot of people. If you're working a traditional job, okay, a lot of people are tired of working for somebody, number one, that's unappreciative, and number two is basically going to tell you when and where and why and how that you can live your life. They're going to control. If you think about it, what is it? So it's 200, 120, so roughly 300 and some hours in a week. And if you're working 40 plus hours a week, you're pretty much working like at least a third of your life is spent at work. Okay. Some people want to, freedom for time. They want time freedom. They want their time back. They want to be able to control and say, this is what I want to do with my time. Okay. Another freedom that people are looking for is control. Aha. This is where everything's going to kind of come together. Time, financial freedom, and control freedom. You want to be able to control when, where, why, and how you live your life. I hear people all the time, well, yeah, I got a good job. I'm making decent money. And hey, you know what? I get 3 weeks of paid vacation every year. And I go, that's cool. Where did they send you this year? Huh? What? No, they didn't send me anywhere. Well, you just said they give you 3 weeks of paid vacation. Paid vacation means they're paying you to go on vacation. And they're sending you somewhere to go on vacation. No, paid vacation just means that they're giving you 3 weeks or 2 weeks of salary not to come into work and sit at home. But realistically, how many people can actually go and take their vacation time and use it for something productive? Most of the people that I know today that are still in the corporate world, if they get 3 or 4 weeks of vacation every year, they take it one day at a time. They're taking 3-day weekends. They're taking 4-day weekends. They take a vacation day in conjunction with a holiday, a 4-day weekend. So they get a 5-day weekend. Ooh, I got 5 days off. Well, I hate to break the bad news to you guys, but I own my own business. If I want to take 7 days a week off, I can take 7 days a week off. Now, granted, my business is at a point right now where if I tried to do that, wouldn't be much of a business left when I got back. But I'm working on it. I'm building it. And that's what we're doing here is we're kicking ideas around. We're helping each other so we can get to that point where we have the financial freedom. Okay? We're getting to that point where we can have this financial freedom, where we can have this time freedom, where we can have this control freedom. Okay, for some other people, There's other issues. There's other types of freedoms that they're looking for. Everybody is going to have a reason. Everybody has a reason. Why are you looking to get in the business of your own? Why are you willing to go through the time, expense, and the headache of starting your own business instead of playing it safe and letting somebody pay you, you know, $15, $20, $25, or $30 an hour to work for them? Well, let me tell you something. Since I've started my own business, my cost per hour has gone through the roof. Where before I used to think that it was pretty cool to make 35 bucks an hour at the job that I was working, my hourly salary right now is right about $450 an hour. So if somebody wants my time, it's going to cost them right around $450 for 1 hour of my time. But I'm willing to give my time to you guys for free right now. Okay, so let's move on. The last one is how. How are we going to answer these questions? How are we going to do our business? Like I said, we can either buy a franchise. Statistically, I think right now, the average McDonald's low end is about $750,000. High end is $1.5 million. And statistically, I think it's about 80% of all brand new McDonald's are being sold to franchise owners. So that means somebody that already owns a McDonald's has an 80% better chance of getting a new McDonald's than somebody coming in and wanting to buy a brand new franchise. And if you buy the franchise, there's no guarantee. You know what? If you live in Chicago, if you live in St. Louis, if you live in Los Angeles, if you live in Newark, New Jersey, there's no guarantee you're going to get a franchise in your city. Okay? If a franchise opens up, you know, in Elk Nose, Montana, and you're next in line, they may offer it, and they may only offer you a couple of them before they stop offering you the opportunities. So at least with my business, I get to work where I live. So that's the how. How are we going to do this business? Are we going to do a brick and mortar? Are we going to really start our business? And if we do, are we going to do it online? And if we do it online, how are we going to do it? Okay. So we've talked about the how a little bit. And that's something that we have to think about. How are we going to do our business? For me, I do my business through the internet. I use the power of the internet to reach people out there. So how are we going to do this? Number one, are we going to do a traditional job, a job? For most people, if they need to find some financial freedom, they've got a couple of different choices. They can either get job number 2 or job number 3 or job number 4. You know, in some cases, job number 5. You know, but basically all a job is trading your time for money. You know, you're willing to give up your free time and you're expecting somebody else to tell you how much your time is worth. You know, that's kind of malarkey. That's kind of garbage. You need to tell people what your time's worth, not somebody else. Okay? Or you start your own business. And like I said, you know, there's a lot of different things you can do. I talked to one lady that really had a dream of doing medical recording, you know, all the research and stuff, and being able to sit at home and do all her research while she stays at home and takes care of her mom. That's cool. Now you have to go out and figure out how you're going to make that happen. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you have to find the right business for you. Okay. Some things that I would recommend is you want to find something that's basically a relatively low cost startup. Unless you've got $1 million that you can sink into a franchise, most of us don't have that kind of money. So we need something that's going to be relatively low cost. Something that somebody's already done before, so you can repeat what they've done. And for me, one of the big things about the right business for me is I needed to have a business that I could help other people do the same thing. That's huge on my list. I need to help other people. It's just something that's been in me my entire life. Okay, there's nothing that makes me feel better about life than helping other people succeed. So when each and every one of you guys succeed, it makes me feel like a success, whether I'm making money at it or not. Okay. First and foremost, what's most important, you need to decide what's right for you. Okay. Find the business education that fits your style. Don't be afraid to try something new. If it doesn't taste good, getting back to the old, buffet analogy I used earlier, don't be afraid to try something new. If it doesn't taste good, don't eat anymore. And keep trying new recipes. That's the only way you're going to find what's right for you. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do every week now is I'm going to recommend some books. These are books that, depending on what the topic we're sharing for the day is, that I was introduced to when I was starting my business. They made a big impact on me. They really helped me on my business. They helped me with my mindset, and they helped me stay focused. So here's Business Bootcamp book recommendations. I get no money from these things. Grant Cardone, if you happen to run across this webinar, you know what? You want to send me an autographed picture? Hey, I'm there, buddy. But anyway, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. If you haven't read anything by Grant Cardone, if you haven't seen one of his seminars, been to one of his seminars, or heard his audiobook, the guy's a maniac. He's basically just, this is what you need to do, and this is no BS about it. So the 10X Rule, he talks about multiplying your efforts times 10. And an analogy that he uses is, say you want to make an extra $10,000 a month. Okay. You look at what you're making at work now, and that granted, I don't know a whole lot of people that if they had an extra $10,000 a month wouldn't be extremely happy. So say that's all you really want. You only want $10,000 a month extra income, and that's going to be the holy grail. That's going to cure all your ills. I disagree with you, but that's your belief. So anyway, if you shoot for that $10,000 a month, what's going to happen is you're going to hit that $10,000 a month, and then your business is going to plateau, or it's going to start diving. The reason being is that once you hit your goal, there's nothing above it for you to shoot with. So what Grant Cardone suggests is, if you want to make $10,000 a month consistently, shoot for 50. Make your goal $50,000 a month, or make your goal $100,000 a month. The old T-shirt and poster that said, I'd rather be soaring with eagles than hanging around with turkeys. Basically, I'd rather be flying way up in the stratosphere than walking around on the ground. So the 10X Rule talks to you about improving your mindset and going for those bigger goals. Okay, number 2 on the hit parade, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. Here's another one that talks about your mindset. Here's another one that talks about don't think small, think big. And he gives a lot of great examples of people out there in the world that have used this technique and been extremely successful. Because let's face it, boys and girls, if we're going to do our own business, we want to be successful. Now, everybody's definition of success is different. For some people, success is a couple $1,000s a month just to supplement their income. Some people is, I want to completely replace my income with part-time work, my full-time income with part-time work, and I want X number of dollars in bank, and I need this much money coming in because I need to take care of my entire family. Okay? So, The Magic of Thinking Big, another great book that tells you not to limit your dreams. And then the last one. This one, I think, is probably the most important book for any brand new business owner or anybody that's seriously thinking about becoming a business owner needs to read. That's Mr. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Never heard of this gentleman before I started my business. My business coach, the guy that was helping me start my business, turned me on to this book, and let me tell you something, man, my head exploded when I read it, because he talks in simple terms about this is what the average person's mindset is about finances and wealth. And this is what the reality of it is. And he talks about the difference between assets and debts. Okay, simple rules. You know, for years, I always thought that owning my own house was one of the things that you really want to do. He dispelled the rumor. He showed me that unless you owned the house outright and didn't owe any money on it, it was just a debt. It was just a hole in the ground that you keep pouring money into. So this is book number 3 for the week. You know, I challenge each and every one of you to run out and grab one of these books. If you've read these 3 books, great. Pick it up, read it again. If you haven't read any of them, then just pick one. Start with it and then go on to the next one, okay? All right, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. I appreciate you coming and checking these videos out. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, suggestions, feel free to drop me a line at pats21step@gmail.com. Just do me a favor. Don't, you know, I know I'm bald. I know that I probably need to lose a little bit of weight. You don't need to point that out to me. Be constructive. If you got something constructive you want to say, like, hey, you know, I think you need to try to do this, throw it in there. Hey, I'm open to suggestions. Trust me, I do not know. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the dumbest guy in the room. I look at other people and I see what they're doing, and I'm trying to imitate what they're doing. Okay? So trust me, I'm not the end all be all. I don't think I am. And I'm always trying to improve. So if you have suggestions that'll help me improve, that'll help make these even better, please shoot me an email. All right. If you want to try to get a hold of me at Skype, my Skype address is pcalcagno@student.rcc.edu. This is an email that I got when I was still going to school, and I used it to set up my Skype. And you know what? Honest to God, I'm just too lazy to go change it at the moment. So for right now, that's my Skype address. If you want to check out more of my videos, if you want to check out what I'm doing on my YouTube right now, you know, we're just getting started. I'm putting some content up. You can look at some of my retirement rants and raves. You can look at some of the other Tuesday night things that we've done. They're on my web channel. It's my YouTube channel, Patrick Calcagno. Just type that in. It'll take you right to my YouTube channel. Okay, guys, that's it for now. I want to thank you guys for coming by. I want to thank you guys for sticking it out and sitting through these. If you are a business owner and you are working with clients, feel free to use these videos with your clients. Feel free to let them look at the videos. If they have questions, you know, you can ask me. You can answer those questions. You guys are probably a lot smarter than I am. You probably already got the answers. So, but feel free to use these videos. Okay, that's why they're here. We're a community. We're friends. We're family, and we try to help each other. And that's what I'm doing with these. Is I'm trying to help everybody. So, guys, God bless you. Thank you very much for sticking by. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. I will put a list out and we'll get it done. All right. So until then, you know what? Smooth sailing, fair winds, and we'll see you down the road. Okay. Bye.